Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Earlier in the day, there was a warm-up race at Silverstone in Formula One. Also another absolute barnstormer as well earlier on in the European Le Mans series from Monza. But we all know that they are just the precursors to the true jewel in the crown that is the SRF Weekend Warriors on a Sunday evening. And we're back for round 3, and this time we are coming to you live from Germany, the Nurburgring, but not on the full Grand Prix circuit, on the sprint Strecker. We're going to be turning right just past the Mercedes Arena, cutting out half of the track across 2.2 miles. And boy, oh boy, have we got a big grid here for you today. Standard Weekend Warriors action, 46 cars out on track, but currently vying in qualifying to find a gap out there. And what's going to be fun, excitement and drama to last a lifetime, but it's all going to be crammed into 40 minutes of racing. Buckle up, get ready, because we are going to be going soon. I am Tim Cox, joined today by, as always, Jonathan Grabowski, who's dual-wheeling it this week, commentary and production. Oh, I can't wait for this one, Jonathan.
I can't wait either. Good afternoon, good evening, Tim, wherever you are. I can't wait. I know, as you mentioned, this is the grand finale of today. We're warmed up with IndyCar, we're warmed up with F1, and we're excited for about over 40 SRF cars riding around the Nurburgring. Can't wait.
I can't either. I've already got the hairs on my arms starting to stand on end. You just know with this series, it's going to be drama and excitement right from the start to the end, and qualifying about halfway through at the moment. Marco Pinheiro, he's top of the timing sheet, only just those 600ths of a second. That's right, we don't deal in temp here at Weekend Warriors. Hundredths of a second between the setup and aero nom. This is currently provisionally on the front row of the grid, but it's definitely tricky out there with this short course to try and find some clean air to get a lap in. We've seen plenty of drivers trip up over one another in the early stages of qualifying and during practice as well. And that's just going to continue right into the depth. We've got around about 8 minutes left of qualifying to go. Currently, Antonio Rossi at the top of Masters. He is a wizard at qualifying. The Mr. Saturday of the weekend warriors, as it were. Currently on the second row, up in fourth place. A great qualifying for now for him. Favini leading Spec 2, and by a considerable margin. Both are leaders and masters of Spec 2, Race and Favini. Really putting in some epic laps, well clear of their competitors. Some of the usual names that we come to expect that aren't here this week is Murakami. We haven't got him. We have got Series Organizer Stevie Ray. He is there. There he is. Expect to see him popping into the pit first of all. That's always he seems to do. Also, no Andreas Bertoni either. An absolute flyer last time out at Phoenix. Now I'm going to see him out on track today. His usual poor qualifying and then coming through the field like the perennial hot knife through butter. And of course, not so many of our usual American racers here today. Of course, it's a slightly special holiday for you guys, isn't it, across the pond, Jonathan?
Yeah, tomorrow's Independence Day, Tim, where we ran out your ancestors from the country, so a lot of us are celebrating the long weekend. So you look at the time tower, I don't see a lot of our American contingent here. It's a strong European base this week.
It is, and as much as there's going to be fireworks tomorrow on the 4th of July, I think we're going to see the fireworks start a little bit earlier here in Germany, as we just see Todd Hansen starting another lap there. Didn't improve on his last lap, went half a second slower than his previous best. Currently down in 23rd, 4th of the Spec 2 drivers as Thomas Renders, the Dutchman, well, by his standards, currently being the Flying Dutchman as well. He's pulling off the side there, so he can go again, saying his best on the last time around, 139.79 for him, only 400ths of a second slower than Yang Lin, who you can currently see there. Another driver who had an eventful Phoenix, to say the least, Jonathan.
Yeah, Yang Lin always, creates some sort of excitement, how he sits back, lets the guys battle out. He gets really creative with his pit strategy, and, he pops up the end. But one thing you just mentioned, Thomas Renders. Thomas Renders, new Spec class. He's graduated from the Spec 2 up to the Spec 1.
He has. And congratulations to him for moving up that category. Of course, they're denoted by their iRacing between the two classes. So he's clearly had a decent performance out there and got himself a promotion. Congratulations on that. But it does bring about new challenges where, of course, you're then directly racing against much stronger drivers. So definitely bring about some interesting points for him. Of course, this series is always supported and sponsored by RaceVoice, the simple way to transform complicated performance data, so complicated I can't even say the word, into easy to understand voice notifications and alerts with over 16 different notifications, including up, down, shift, over rev alerts, and corner entry, turn in and exit speeds that provides immediate feedback on driver and vehicle performance. Make sure you check them out, heading across to RaceVoice.com to find out more information. And of course, Weekend Warriors also get a little bit of a discount, and who doesn't love a cheeky discount, especially on Independence Weekend as well. As there is Naselli, our top three, separated by a 10th and a half. Incredibly close. Bit of a gap to Antonio Race, who's 3/10 off the pace at the moment. Nipping at his heels, though, is Jorg Mane. Someone who's really grown in stature, and it's been brilliant to watch him across the last few seasons, building confidence, skill level, and really be challenging near the front. He's sort of emigrated from that Peloton pack that you coined so brilliantly a couple of seasons ago, Jonathan, into that front pack that we always see break away of anywhere between 3 and, well, being Weekend Warriors, sometimes 12 cars.
Yeah, Mane's raised his game over the past season, and one thing you and I have talked about, Tim, is who's the guy that's going to step up and battle Aeronom on a consistent basis? We've seen 1 week it's Yang Lin, 1 week we see it's Naselli, 1 week we see it's Pinero. We're starting to get a group of guys that can really take the fight to Aeronom on a consistent basis, and Jorg Mane has definitely become one of those people.
Yes, Girelli, he's had a brilliant qualifying so far. Currently 5th in class, 6th at the moment overall. That's going to be good enough for the 3rd row of the grid. There is the Argentine driver, a new best as he came across the line, 139.52. Just, wow, you can see the driver's really taking plenty of that care on the inside. Incredibly road because the track ridiculously drops off at the apex, and with all the weight in the rear, of course the engine in these cars is in the boot, similar to a Porsche 911. Actually, that's where the similarities are a little bit different from that point onwards in terms of price and the amount of seats that the car has and where the driver sits, and definitely the power. But you see them really bounce across the curve there and be really confident of that, not too worried about losing the rear end. As Naselli is quicker again at 138.96. Our first driver into the 138s. Moting Aero Nom down to the 2nd row of the grid. And the two Italian teammates, they're looking at the front row at the moment, Naselli and Panero. Keeping you up to date with what's happening down in Spec 2. Vini still leading the way in terms of the highest qualifiers. He's 12th, 6th row of the grid. Alan McCain has closed the gap though. He is 1 row behind, 14th place. There he is. And just trying to work a bit together there with his teammate Aero Nom. These two in different classes, but I know from where we've spoken before, Jonathan, to Alan McCain, he said how Aero's been a brilliant mentor and helped him so much to really race his game. And he's another driver, like your Marnie, who we've seen climb through the rankings within his category.
Yeah, McCain, every time we talk to him, and we've talked to him a lot over the past few seasons, you know, because he's been one of the top Spec 2 guys, is he's always thanking Aero Nom. He's calling him the master and how much he learns from him. And he's definitely picking up a lot of stuff. He's gotten really fast. But one thing also I want to point out is usually we see looking at the time tower, a whole mix of guys in regards to their classes. You know, looking at 1 through 19, we only have 3 guys that aren't Spec 1 drivers. So the Spec 1 guys are really, you know, are really at the top of the table this week.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things about these series of see Dantas just improving up to 16th there, is that you would expect the cream to rise to the top, but in terms of iRacing, which obviously Spec 1 guys have the higher iRating, but it isn't always the case. I know with the Masters a little bit different because that is obviously age restricted rather than iRating restricted, but quite often we do see quite a few of the Spec 2 guys, like you say, inside the top 10, and it's a real mixed up grid, but it really is like a clear division today. As you say, inside the top 20 there are only 4 non-Spec 1 drivers.
Yeah, and Antonio Reyes is you know, he's setting himself up for one heck of a day. You know, he is clearly far and away the Masters leader going into this. Now let's see if he can, you know, hold on. You know, we've seen Antonio kind of get into the battles, mix it up. He is super fast, but I think the big thing for him today is staying consistent. You know, the next fastest guy behind you is Andrew Love currently. He's sitting in 21st. You're qualifying 4th right now, so just hold on, stay with the pack, don't do anything crazy.
I just saw a very rare mistake there. Aero Nom losing it out of the last corner on the final lap, and he's not going to improve. I just caught the car. I was like, "Oh, is that Alan McCain?" Sorry, Alan, to call you out on that one, assuming it was you as opposed to your teammate, but no, it wasn't. As our cameras were concentrating on McCain. Aero Nom making a crucial mistake there. He's going to start from the 2nd row of the grid. He's got no chance of improving. The few drivers out there, Lynn being one of them, have got chance to improve. Running into overtime, the drivers have a chance to complete the lap that they are currently on. And let's see what he is going to do. Currently in 7th. 4th row of the grid. We're going to see an improvement. Let's find out as he cuts the timing beam. Well, it is an improvement in... Oh, sorry, new time, but no improvement in places for Lynn. He's going to stay where he is in 7th place, and I think, looking at where everyone is, I think we're nearly done and dusted. We've just got Andalo and Bob Kern, the last 2 drivers left out on the track.
Going back to Nom, it's almost that Alain Prost sort of thing where, you know, he spins maybe once every 3 years. You know, he rarely ever makes mistakes.
And I think we've just seen one for the collector's book there,
Yeah,
if you say.
for sure. Now the big thing I think today with these guys, especially our top guys, is going to be traffic. We've seen, you know, lap traffic play an issue in many of these races where we have big grids.
And they're going to be catching them incredibly quickly. Short track here today, 2.2 miles long is all that the drivers have to play with. It's going to be a high number of laps, but it does mean they're going to be catching the rear end of the grid incredibly quickly. So that's 3.6 kilometers for those who are of the metric persuasion. But let's run you through your grid because we're going to have a really short pace lap here today. So, Naselli and Panera, they are on the front row. Teammates locking that one out. Aero Nom in the second row with Antonio Race, highest in Masters. Great qualifying from him. And this is a Daytona when he stuck it on the front row. It's absolutely spectacular shoot stuff. Marnie and Dorelli, they're on the third row with Lynn and McDonald on the fourth row. Top 10 run out by Mayer and Gory. Fifth row, Renders and Favini, your highest spec 2 driver. They're on the sixth row of the grid. Seventh row is Fritcher and McCain. West and Green, Dantas Rodriguez with the 10th row, and your top 20 rounded out by Elston and Leone. Love next to the Masters driver. There's just the gulf between himself and Race. Work cut out for Andrew Love. He's got Trespadini for company alongside him on the 11th row. There's Burkitt and Darlow. Let's move through Lesnoy and Hansen. Nunes and Batley, the old Masters row there, with Bradshaw and Gibson rounding out your top 30 in row 15. Gradwell has Jackson for company. Montebaut and Edgar Santinelli bit down and qualifying by his standards down in 34th. Bob Kern, he's got Sean Vincent for company. And then we have got Conti and Mulder. Bit of a new face to the series. Be interested to see how he gets on. Charlie Vaccaro has Gary Wolbolt with him on row 20. Anderson and Hugo Boozer. There, and we've got Lee and seems organizer Stevie Ray. There's Laughlin and Brewster to round out your 46 car grid. What a sight of them all lined up there, ready to get going. This is gonna be one wild, wild ride. Get ready, 40 minutes of racing. There's gonna be pit stops as well. What sort of strategy will the drivers play? Will they go early? Will they look for the undercut? Or will they run deep? Or will they go somewhere in the middle? Well, we will be finding out in approximately 20 minutes time in terms of pit strategy. But as they round the final corner, let's get ready to go racing in Germany in the SRF Weekend Warriors for round 3 on Apex Racing TV. Here come the lights, but they've gone early anyway. And what a start, Naselli, leaving everyone napping as they scream down to turn 1 and into the Mercedes arena. As Nom squeezes through, all this contact in the midfield, 2 spinners.
Renders.
They've just about made it through somehow, Jonathan. I think everyone taking evasive action. But Andalo, he's lost a couple of places. Renders, he's lost 8. A big loser in that situation there. Is everyone making through exits? This car's still entering the Mercedes arena because the front of the grid are exiting it. But Naselli leads from Nom. Panero has dropped a place in the second Antonio race, continuing that great start he had in qualifying. He's still in 4th. Marnie, Dorelli, McDonald, Gory, McCain, he's at 5 already into 9. Great start for him. As here is the replay. The race down to the start, Jonathan. And he's under braking.
Renders got bumped from behind by Bobby West.
Wow.
And then
another spinner as well. I couldn't quite catch who that was. I may well be Luca Leone because he's dropped 8 places.
Take a look at that.
Head round now. Naselli taking charge. There is Panero. Currently in 3rd, and Antonio Race in the 914 machine. He's swarming around like an angry hive of bees, trying to find his way past. And whereas we normally have quite a chunky group pull away, it's starting to emerge that our top 4 are that group. 7 temps down to York Marnie as they slipstream down, and Nom trying to take control early on as he hangs around the outside here into turn 1 and onto the brakes, but he's left the inside open, and Panero says, thank you very much, I'll have a bit of that space from you, Aero, and slots himself through to get back up into second place. And the top 6, well, they remain as they were on the grid. This has some big improvers. Bandry, Dantas up into 10th, up 7 places. That means McCain's dropped down a few. So this is what's happened to Luca Leone, Jonathan.
Yeah, here's what happened to Leone. Oh, this is from when everything else went on there, and Leone just got kind of stuck.
It was Favini, the 227, who had the spin. He's down. Well, what a disastrous start. 26 places into 38. Wow, that is a big, big shock for the Swede here in Germany in round 3. Not what you expect from
Favini. Alan McCain as well. So he had an off track.
Yes, he's dropped a few places. He had a cracker start. He was at 5 places already. But has dropped down through the field. So he's down to 13th. He's still improved one.
He just ran wide.
This is the trouble, isn't it, Jonathan? You make one mistake, and because it's such the large grid, you just lose place after place after place after place for such a minor mistake.
Yeah, once you kind of get off track or you spin, you're cooked. You know, you're basically going to lose, depending on where you are, 10 to 15 spots. You know, hopefully you get single digits if you're lucky.
Spread out well. They're spreading out in the background, 3 wide. Down to turn 1, Lynn on the inside, and it's squeezing right around the outside. But what a move! Oh no, that was the 80 there of Gory, who was on for a spectacular move to dine out on 2 overtakes into 1 corner. But contact, and around he goes.
Take another look at that.
Great to see. And I think he's retired the car from it. Oh, a nudge there just sent him spinning. And lights up the tyres to get going again, but he is well down. And as I said, I think he's retired the car. Yeah, there you go. He's parked it.
Yeah, he's giving it up.
Done. He's had enough for today. He's gone. He's checked out, unfortunately. Brewster, our only other, well, technically retirement, he didn't make the grid. He lost 2 cars down to 44. You know, that's just that. Small grid. I don't know if what you saw at the Kyalami 9 hours in the Intercontinental GT Challenge, where only 11 cars took to the grid. Here, we've got 46, well, 44 still running. As there is Elson, up 7 already.
Yeah,
we got this great start from him.
Yeah, we got this battle group right here. You know, Elson, McCain, Mayer, Dantas. You know, these guys. This is starting to appear to be our little kind of pelotonish group.
Saw Dantas just run a bit wide there, Jonathan, and I get the feeling he's going to get eaten up as there's a bit of slipstreaming going on there. Elson giving Mayer the push along there on the run down to turn 1 onto the brakes. They go, and the pair of them just slipping past Dantas there in, well, what looked like relatively comfortable fashion.
Can't be over aggressive, especially this early in the race with so many cars. You know, you almost have to kind of pick and choose your spots.
This was there, Simon Mayer already pulling out a gap. He's on a great start as the animals coming on to Noah Arc 2 by 2. It's Tres Pedini there, right in the thick of it with Andrew Love, who's dropped from 2nd in class down to 3rd. Marcus Burkitt just in front of him in the Masters class. As we take the right-hand turn here, Recursion Bindung. Cut out the short section, then get straight into the Michelin curve at the moment, then through the right-hander, there's Warsteiner. This is where you really wind the car up, get the slipstream, as you take the flat-out Advan. Just grazing the inside there. Bradshaw just having a bit of a lift through that. Maybe not just feeling quite confident. Slipping his foot on the accelerator, down on the brakes, into the chicane when you really get down to the slowest parts of the circuit. Expect to see some big, bold moves later in the race there. And then it's through Coca-Cola and across the line as our lead group are starting to be caught up on a little bit. It was a group of 4, but Marnie and Dorelli have worked together to bring themselves nearly back into contention once they get through Mercedes Arena. Top 4 which holding themselves up there. Naselli leads from Panero, Nom, Race, Marnie, Dorelli in this group in that order. Then got a 1.4 second advantage over McDonald's, the American in 7th with Lynn. Bogged down in that group with Fritcher in there as well. Simon Mayer, Elson, Daltas, McCain, West, Renders, Rodriguez, Green, Hansen, all tucked up in that peloton. There is Santinelli.
Just speed had an issue.
Wow, he's running incredibly wide.
Watch out on the rejoin.
Wow, somebody just about manages to get back. Oh, that was nearly a bit of contact there with the 3, 4, 5 car. That's Danny Mulder.
Oh.
A little bit of a helping hand there, I think, shall we say.
Yeah, definitely. That might have been Bob Kern that gave him the helping hand there.
So we head through Michelin, through Varsteiner, Cispadini, now looking for a bit of redemption, bit of digging deep. Lou, he's up in 28th place, up incredible 15 places. He's your highest position climber here today as, wow, Bradshaw just, oh man, he's got damage there. Something's really happened to his car. That is one bruised and battered Spec Racer. The front end is as Green and Burkett, they've gone early and headed into the pits. I mean, after 8 minutes of racing, Jonathan, this early, and then there's that.
That's really shocking. That might be, you know, let's get on a different strategy, or let's just try to avoid the chaos, because it's definitely really starting to heat up out there for sure.
I mean, they can make it to the end from here, but it's a long, long time to try and dig that one out. Bradshaw also popped in to get his car repaired and, well, also take his pit stop to get to the end. As we just see McCain right in the thick of this battle. Starts off at Mayer, Alson, Dantas, McCain, West, Rodriguez at the back end of it. 6 cars scrapping it out, and this is the battle over a 10th place. That last illustrious place inside the top 10. McCain involved in it. He is your leader in Spec 2. Hansen and Andalo, second and third. Antonio Race obviously still leading Masters. Love down in 19th, his closest rival. 15 places between the pair of them as just see a bit of move there from Dantas. Lovely up the inside into the chicane. Dispatching of Elson. But I'll tell you who's really checked out since getting past these guys is Simon Mayer. He's already pulled out a 2-second advantage. There he is. There's plenty of daylight between himself and that group.
Yeah, look at the... Yeah, Mayer's done a great job over the last few laps. Definitely turning up the heat. Now he has to get up to Frischer, and then potentially, if he gets up to Lynn, he's in a really, really good spot.
As we see a bit of a lock up there into the turn one as McCain just snatching that place away from Dantas, and even Elson has got him on the slipstream down to turn one. McCain has to tote back in again, quite hang on around the outside. There's all a lock up, and McCain runs deep. Dantas locks up, and they avoid each other. Burying the ball on the exit is Dantas, but here comes McCain on full attack mode, trying to find his way past. He's going to have to come onto the race, look for the switch back here, get the much better run with the late apex. Can he find a way past the 32 of Dantas? Not the easiest section of the track. Surely, Jonathan, this big move has got to be into the chicane near the end of the lap.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the chicane, and these guys always it seems like they're always together. This group of Ellison, Dantas, McCain, Bobby, West. It seems like every race, these guys try to almost find each other as West blinks out for a brief moment, which is always a little scary if you're the guy behind.
Well, it's especially with how closely these guys follow each other week in, week out, where you have a car disappear from in front of you, and then you've got to try and guess and hope and pray that they're going to emerge where you think they will emerge and not suddenly find yourself them reappearing and you're inside them in this contact and it all ends in tears. But McCain pulls out of the slipstream. He's going to be on the inside to turn 1. The race down to Mercedes Arena, and that is the move done from McCain up into 12. You do have to win from McCain after that cracky start he had, where he was up into 8th place. He was up 5 places. Just what he could have done, but trying to make progress, pick himself up, dust himself down. And Elson, his next target, he's already pulled out over a second advantage. He's battle behind him. He's Steve Elson, he's at a cracky start. He's at 8 places into 11th. Mayer, 2 seconds ahead of him. What that was, this squabbling pack of 6, now down to 4. The top 2 clearing off into the distance. Bit of a lock up there, so smoke left over. I think that might have been from the group of Lynn and Fritcher. Torelli also, no, I'm sorry, apologies, we McDonald as well. Torelli, he's part of the top group right now that are well and truly checking out in front. And there they are. Naselli from Panero, from Nom, Race, Marnie and Dorelli. And all remaining, as they always do in one cluster together. And just working together and just trying to pull away. No infighting, no losing time. Looking to extend that gap even further. You see the identical lines they all pull where there's just one long snake that follows identically from where the car in front of them has been. As we look back from Aaron on that Santonio race, who's been pretty much hugging onto the rear bumper of Aeronaut. It's the very start of the race.
Tim, they're so well organized. You know, I'm sure there's not a lot of communication between them, but there, you know, there is sort of that gentleman's agreement, let's say, of, you know, hey, let's, you know, break away, let's, you know, be kind to each other, and then we can, once the pit stops happen, that's when the fun begins and the battling really begins. But, you know, we see this every week where we get that breakaway group of, you know, Naselli, Panero, Nom, Race, and Jorg Manny, where they just stay organized, they get away, and they fight it amongst themselves.
One person we're normally usually see in this group is Lynn. Now he's currently down in 7th, and work cuts out because he's 4 seconds behind these guys. To give you an indication on lap time, last time around he did a 140.13, which was equal to the pace that he set at the front of the group by Naselli. But if you're just equaling the same pace, Jonathan, you're not catching up on them, and Lynn just sort of cuts adrift now in a little pocket of space by himself. There is McDonald and Fritcher behind, but they've been squabbling amongst themselves for quite a while now, which is what's allowed Lynn to just head off into the distance and put some air between himself and them.
And we've seen Yangshi Lin do some really unique pit work, so I wouldn't count him out quite yet. I mean, we saw, I think it was last week, where he kept going and going and going and going. And he, you know, he is really creative with the fuel strategy. You know, he's known for saving fuel. He's talked about how he's been kind of criticized for, you know, his fuel saving techniques. But, you know, it gets him right at the front at the end of the race, when that's when it matters.
Well, at the end of the day, if you can't beat them, join them. So that's with Lynn. He's definitely the most creative when it comes to pit strategies. Interesting to see where he can haul himself into contention later on the race. Completed 16 minutes out of 40. We're fast approaching half race distance. Quite an organised affair. So we see Sean Vincent out on the track. Looks like he's had a bit of Vincent. As Lesnoy into the pits, Vaccaro in as well.
The time, it has begun.
There is McCain. And Elson, I tell you what, he's really done a great job to close up the gap onto Simon Mayer. Now, Simon Mayer had a 2-second advantage over Elson. That gap is now down to 4/10 of a second. Then you can see, well, something's clearly happened on lap 8 because he's taken 1.3 seconds nearly out of him. That's where it's really come from. But even so, just consistently been chipping away at it. Has Elson, but also McCain has been hauling that group of
Tim,
West.
I think I have your answer right here.
Oh, this is
Looking
the
at-
run down to the chicane, isn't it, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Is he going to outbrake himself?
Oh,
Ooh, well held, and he's going to have picked up a slowdown for that, so that's why he's going to bet for it. But we cut back to the live pictures. That mistake has cost him dearly because he's about to leave the place. He's been caught and now passed by Steve Elson, who picks up that place inside the top 10 in 10th place. Also needs to be careful because I tell you what, McCain is hauling that group of West Rodriguez and Dantas along for the ride with him. And they're going to be brought back together. What was a group of 6 to start off with is going to they're going to get the band back together again, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're
the
gonna
band
come all up again.
Yeah, the band is getting back together really quickly as we watch McCain and Bobby West, and when we're racing with a few other guys, you can pick up your pace and get going, and then you have Elson and Mayer battling, and you can easily catch up, pretty simply. So I think this is going to be back to being a pretty big group, within minutes, depending on how pit stops play out, Tim.
Just keeping half an eye on whether Lynn is catching our lead group. The answer to that is no. He's still maintaining race pace at the moment. It's been a very orderly affair here for Weekend Warriors.
I almost think Lynn's... Sorry, go ahead, Tim.
No, you carry on Lynn before I move on the point.
I almost feel like Lynn's content running this pace. He's not feeling the urgency to kind of catch these guys. I think he has a strategy in mind of what he's going to do. He has a number, and he's going to keep hitting it.
Well, he's matching the pace of the faster guys within our top group, who are all sort of ebbing and flowing in terms of their gaps, with utilising slipstreams, etc. So if you look at his individual pace, he's actually incredibly quick, and arguably slightly quicker than the guys in front of him. But what worries me, Jonathan, is this has been a relatively quiet, orderly affair. And we know from the series that there's always action and drama. And if it's all going to condense itself down into, well, hopefully the last half of the race, so just about I can try and cope with it in terms of my heart. But I think this is going to be interesting what they do out of this lead group, especially in terms of their pit strategy. It's starting to open up a little bit. Norm has dropped back from Panera 8 tenths of a second, but he's going to be in that slipstream. So it's all happening on lap 11. And these guys are going to be not far off catching the tail end of the field. And I think this is where it's going to get tricky, because it's going to come down to who could make their way through the traffic better than the competitors. I mean, quite possibly. I think if I was one of these guys, I'd wait until I got up to the back of the traffic and then take my pit stop, so that I lost the least amount of time having to deal with said traffic.
Great minds think alike, Tim. I would do exactly the same thing. As we know, traffic can get a little hairy here. I think it's a great opportunity. As soon as you come upon the traffic, jump into the pits right away. It's just, do you catch the traffic in the right spot? Are you catching it, kind of right where we are now, or are you catching it right at the end of the lap?
Oh no, man, it's gone! I just caught out the corner of my eye Dorelli making the pass into turn 1, and Jorgmani loses the rear end as he was trying to make his way through. So there you go, on the right hand side, that is Dorelli, the Argentinian. Regulation move into turn 1, and just gets caught up in himself. That's a rare mistake from Jorgmani.
Yeah, that's...
I'll tell you what, something's happened to Evandre Dantas as well on the track. As Lynn now has a sparring partner in the form of Marnie.
Yeah, it still looks like Dantas had a couple issues here.
I thought we were going to see a carbon copy of the Marnie incident there, so we're heading into turn 1, but looking all good for now from Dantas. Runs it out a bit wide across the AstroTurf. There's nothing wrong with that. I picked up an off-track for it.
And then, let me jump ahead here.
Bit of a twitch.
And then...
So here we go. This is down into turn 1. Is this another incident? It's Todd Hansen he's dueling with. All looks okay. They're still side by side.
Oh, and then they touch.
Oh, there you go. That's where it was. And oh, wow, that nearly having a collision. That was Andrew Love there. Came flying through and nearly made contact with Dantas. As Dorelli, he's headed in the first of our lead group to pit. There he is. Todd Hansen's in too. Now, where is Dorelli going to come out? He is our benchmark, our yardstick for the lead group. And clearly elected to come in early. They are starting to catch up onto the main pack. In fact, they're right up on top of them now. So, clearly Dorelli listening to what I was saying about pitting in as she came up onto the back of them to lose the minimum amount of time. And I tell you what, he's got a big old chunk of fresh hair as Dorelli. Either side of him to get the hammer down. This is time to put in some quality style laps to get the jump on Nicelli, Panero, Norm, Race. And of course, Marnie dropping off. He's still sparring away with Lynn. Those two need to work together to haul themselves back into contention and catch up with that lead pack. Work cut out though. 6 seconds is now the gap between themselves and the leaders. There's slightly a bit of a false sense that that gap has extended due to we've lost 2 cars out of it, so it is still around about that 5-second gap if you were to factor those 2 back in, assuming they're about half a second apart from one another, which they were roughly. Dorelli and Marnie, obviously Marnie when he was into that section, and if they're clever, they'll bump draft each other down the straight. Or do we think they're just going to see these 2 really scrap it out, Jonathan?
If they're smart, I would say bump draft. I think this might work out really well for Yanxi Lin in that. Is that okay? I thought that was Antonio Rice for a second. Is that Andrew? That's Antonio Rice.
Rice. Something's happened to him. Now,
let's take a look here.
He has.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I said I was a bit worried because
did he outbrake himself?
It's Jorg Marnie 2.0, isn't it?
Jorg Marnie 2.0 for sure. It was funny because we were watching that. Like, that looks like Antonio Rice.
And there he was, and clearly put the curse to the commentator. And I was only saying earlier about I was a bit worried. It'd all been a bit too calm in the first half of the race, and then all of a sudden it starts to unfold. From our lead group, we've lost Marnie, we've lost Rice, who was on for an absolute barnstormer, potentially the Masters driver, within a chance of finishing on the podium overall, but just succumbing to momentum over Adhesion, losing the rear end as, well, exactly the same as the car that's we're currently on board with Jorg Marnie. Past the BMW stands there, and wow, Jonathan, where do we go from here? We've got 15 minutes left on the clock. All to play for.
This might work out even more for Yanxi Lin. You know, we talked about how he was kind of running his own little race, and you know, we see Antonio race and we see Jorg Marnie run into issues. You know, this could all work out well for him if they kind of work together. This could be a really smart move for him. And Dell has jumped into the pits.
Ooh, that's a good, great spot there. So Dorelli, obviously our first in the lead group to pit in. He's in 14th at the moment. We're stationary for 9.8 seconds, which is about right. Maybe on the little, you know, a couple of tenths on the slower side potentially, but nothing too much to worry about. There he is out on track right now as the Argentine. And he has got a gap of 34 seconds to Nicelli. Now, that's going to be close. I don't think it's going to, I think it's too big of a gap to take the lead as things stand at the moment. Like you, Jonathan, I'm intrigued about this three-car battle and how they work together of Lynn, Marnie and Race, because they could really transform each other's fortunes as they clear some traffic, and I can hear you breathing in there, and it's like, you know, trying to squeeze yourself in so you don't make contact.
It also almost looked like Lynn wanted Marnie to go by him right there, and Lynn just jumps into the pits right now.
Lynn knows something that we don't, because based on last time out at Phoenix, he ran deeper and longer than anyone else in the field by a lap. And it was spectacular.
There's a lot of guys going in, Tim.
There is. We've got, so joining Lynn is Fritcher, Elson, Mayer, West, so that little gaggle all going at the same time and reacting to one another.
I wonder if this was a conversation that these guys said, all right, let's do it now. Because, you know, guys do talk to each other. They say, hey, when do you want to make the move? And this could be one of those times.
Sancinelli in 2. Dorelli, he's now up to 9th. Lynn has come out. I'll tell you what, Jonathan. Now, Dorelli was at the tail end of that lead group. Now, assuming he would still emerge at that, the gap was about 5 or 6 seconds back to Lynn. Factoring in, obviously, when we had Marnie in there. But now, the gap between Dorelli and Lynn is only 3 seconds. This is working for Yang Jilin. It's working, but equally, because he came at the same time, that now makes it even more intriguing about where your Marnie and Antonio Rice are going to come out as well. This is game on.
Oh, it's game on for sure, and Lynn is so creative with these pit strategies. You know, he's willing to be unorthodox and do some really different things, and it's definitely working for him so far with about 11 and a half minutes or so left to go. Oh, Naselli's in.
There we go.
This is surprising. Panero didn't go in with him. Those two are teammates. I am really surprised.
That is Vaccaro just in front of him in the 921 machine. Now, where is Dorelli? He is the benchmark, currently in 9th. And where is he going to come out? Naselli going to come out in relation to him. Someone else was heading into the pits. We've got Nunez in the pits too. Renders. More than the last two, they've been in there for a while. They're looking like retirements. As Evandre Dantas is in 2. So Naselli's on pit exit. And where has he come out in relation? There is Dorelli.
There's Naselli.
And that is a gap of 4 seconds, I believe. I'm just doing quick mental maths there. To 3.7 seconds using our brilliant iRacing live timing software. Most accurate live timing on iRacing. So
I am so surprised. I am so surprised that Panero and Naselli didn't do it together. I am really surprised. And you know what's gonna happen now? Nom is just gonna sit behind Panero. He's just gonna let him use up all his fuel, use up his car, and it's gonna create a great opportunity for Nom to get that quick pit stop, which he usually does, and you know, take off.
We've seen it time and time again, haven't we? When Panero and Naselli, they come in together. But they work together throughout the whole race. We've spoken numerous times to Aaron Nom about how he doesn't care what they do, he just sorts himself out, as it were. And you say he's been happy just to sit behind them, bide his time. That's what Antonio Rice is doing with Jorg Marnie right now. Let's not forget, when these two, before they've had their 2 separate identical issues, when they were part of that league group, Race was in front of Marnie, so this is a little bit of roles reversed now. It's time for, well, Rice's turn to feel safe behind Marnie, although, to be fair, Rice was incredibly tucked up behind Aero Nom himself, so certainly he was doing some fuel saving around there. Yang Jilin, Batley and Favini, they are both in.
That's Dorelli, he just went, he's about to go past.
It is great spot there, Jonathan. Is all looking for the switchback, can't quite get it done. So Favini, that's great work from him to claw himself up back at the freewheel. Let's not forget, after his turn 1 incident, he was right to the back of the pack, dropped like 28 places. So that's good driving from him. He is falling down through a little bit now, where drivers have already pitted are coming past me. So good stuff from him. Bob Kern, he's had a cracker up. He's had a cracker up 18 places. However, the Andreas Bertoni award, I'd say, for most overtakes. Now, he's yet to pit, but even so, you see how Lou, currently in 10th, up 33 places. Your eyes are not deceiving you from the graphic on the time it's on the top left corner of your screen. He is at 33 places. Now, I was covering Formula Renault 3.5 last. Oh, there is Panero. I was covering Formula Renault 3.5 here on Apex Racing TV last night, Jonathan, and the maximum grid you can have in that is 25. You've got a driver who's climbed more places than you can have a maximum grid in Formula Renault 3.5, and I think this says everything that you need to know about SRF Weekend Warriors presented by RaceVoice. He is yet to pit, but even so, he is on for an absolute barnstorm. He started right at the back row of the grid, as there we go, in front of his fellow countryman Yang Ji Lin on the attack against Torelli up the inside. This is going to be the move done, and it is Lin back into contention.
Lin wants some too. Oh no!
He has to back out of it a little bit there. I mean, he shouldn't be involved in this race. I mean, he's yet to pit. He's not going to get caught up, be battling with these guys after his pit stops. But even so, he's having a right good old go from there. He's having a whale of a time out there.
Oh, this is great. And, you know, you said it, you know, if you want to, someone asked you, how do you define SRF Weekend Warriors? Big grids, massive grids, and crazy racing, especially as we get toward the end of these races.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lou, I have another stab at Torelli, who's probably looking behind thinking, just go away, leave me alone. I'm trying to battle it out with Lin here, but Lou just having none of it whatsoever.
Will you pit, please?
Back. It is literally that, and they're just picking up a, off track. Well caught there as incredibly squirrely as he came out of Varsteiner. And that's going to give Torelli the breathing space that he needs. But here we go, Marnie and Rice, they are in. Aeronaut going long and deep here. Now interestingly, his teammate, Alan McCain, coming in 5th place. He's doing exactly, well, okay, forget that theory.
Scratch that.
Rodriguez also just in front of him, Jesus Rodriguez. He's in, the Spaniard.
And here's
now, Jonathan, the gap between Panera and Naselli and Aeronaut is 28 seconds, nearly 29.
Alright, so if we pull up the pit lane times, this is the, from entry to exit.
Now, they are moving during, obviously, that time, but of course it is a massively reduced rate. I'm not sure Aeronom has done enough. I think this is going to be similar to what we saw at Road America in round 1, where he emerged just in front of them, but literally just.
I don't think so. I agree with you, especially when it's Pinero and Naselli who aren't going to really battle each other. They're teammates. They're going to work together, you know, especially with Nom in front. Hey, let's catch him, pass him in the pit while he's in the pits. And he's in.
To find out. There we go. Your leader is in. In fact, this week's last driver to take it to the pits. Gianni Longlin, he is just in front of him heading into the pits, but he's only done 20 laps, whereas Aeronoma has done 21. Longer and deeper than anyone else is the Estonian, and here they come. Panero and Naselli. Where is Nom going to come out? He's not even got to his pit box. The car is not even up on the jacks yet, or inserting the fuel. There it is. It's going in, and it could not flow in quick enough. And I don't think it's going to be enough.
He's out.
Oh, this is going to be sight as there that come. Our lead group has his Aero.
Oh, there they are behind him.
He's done it, Jonathan. And wow, with a margin to around about a second. Inspired strategy from the Estonian.
Now it's going to be that sprint and get out of there and pray no lappers create issues for him, as we've seen, unfortunately, in the past for Aeronom, where he's done these great strategies, done these great races, and he gets caught up by a lapper in an accident. You know, hopefully he has some clean track, and he can just sprint away from these guys.
And what I thought was a cracking piece of strategy from Dorelli of going early, it just shows it was completely and utterly wrong, because he's behind Lin in 5th place, and these guys are 8 seconds behind our lead group of 3. I mean, yes, they have been battling, which will have slowed them up, but even so.
But wow. What a heck of a job by Lin. like, you know, he wasn't even in with like our lead group. He was kind of sitting on his own, and now he is, you know, he's in 4th place. And if something were to happen to our lead group, he's on the podium.
It just completely and utterly baffles me with Yangji. Oh, that's close. They touch on the run down to the chicane. Dorelli just giving Lin a nudge, as if he didn't already know that he was there. Just giving him a friendly love tap there to remind him that he is still definitely there. As we see Steve Elson and Jesus Rodriguez side by side through Advan on the run-up to the chicane, and that's changed for position. Jesus Rodriguez making his way through past the Brit Elson. I see both of incredible 8 places, but I know he's at 33 places earlier, but Lou has obviously taken his pit stop, come back out in 16th place, Jonathan, and up 27 places. There he is, the Chinese driver.
Oh! As we cursed him.
Yes, that's going to allow Hansen to creep back up. He's going to have a slowdown because of that. Ooh, that might not be 27 for much longer as he's there. He goes peeled across the right to allow him through as he tries to burn through that time penalty.
Oh, that's so tough right there too.
I mean, he's even so, he's still up 26 places, which, as I alluded to earlier, is still larger than the whole grid of a Formula Renault 3.5 race on iRacing. So it's still an amazing job from him, but now he's got Marcus Burkitt for company. The Brit is going to be all over him like a rash. Desperate to get 17th place off him. Just having a bit of a look. We've got battles up and down the field. Norm still leading by a second. We've got a minute and a half left on the clock. That is all that remains in Germany. Pinero second. Naselli third. Running at your podium. Then a 7.5, 8 second gap to Lin. Dorelli, Marnie, Race, Richer, Mayer, and Rodriguez going to run at the top 10. Race still leading in Masters by a country mile. Marcus Burkitt the closest. He's down in 18. McCain leading Spec 2. He's in 13th. Vandalo and Hansen 15th, 16th respectively. Running at your podium in Spec 2. There is your leader. It's Aero Norm. And this is going to be the last tour, the last lap. The white flag is in the air here at the Nurburgring. From the Sprint Strecker track.
Naselli was a little faster that time by, but I don't know if it will be enough.
It was a quarter of a second, wasn't it? And a 1.6 second advantage that Nom has over Naselli. He can afford to take double that and he'll still have a comfortable victory. I say comfortable, by most series it's not. By weekend Morriers, a second is a country mile practically. As these guys are still scrapping well. Rodriguez and Elton won't leave each other alone. Bobby West in front of them, watching it all unfold in his mirrors as they roll. No! And he's gone. And he's pointing in the wrong direction and probably one of the worst parts of the track. Oh, he's got that going quickly. He's got lucky there with a break in the traffic. But just moving down for the field. So Lin has lost 2 places here. Dorelli and Marnie have made their way back. They know they're running out of time. Now, this is going to take a big lunge on to the brakes. Who's got the most momentum? It might even be a run to the line for our drivers as they come down in towards the chicane. Marnie on the outside of Dorelli, and they make contact. And here comes Lin. Oh, no, he kills off his momentum. He's made contact with Marnie, and Dorelli's going to take 4th place. Oh, Neronom takes the victory. Naselli second. Pinero going to round out your podium. We'll
get back to that in a second, Tim.
Pinero. Dorelli's picked up 4th. Here comes McCain. He's having a lunge on the last lap. He's going to have a look into Coca-Cola corner. That's against the 160 of Jason Green. And these two not fighting over position in class, but overall. And Green is going to hold on to it.
Tim, here's the replay of what happened there.
Let's take a look, Jonathan. So this is on board with young Marnie. So run the outside, but it's the moment where these two grind each other to a halt. And I think it's where Marnie applies the brakes there. That's what meant Yang Jiling got caught up into the back of Marnie. And it's gifted Antonio Race, who looked well behind the pair of them, well, all 3 of them. He's into 5th place now. Great result from the Portuguese driver. Well, we spoke to him last time out at Phoenix, and hopefully we'll be having another chat with him today. But well, Lynch carries so much speed and momentum in there.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that dab of the brakes from Young Marnie, and that's what caused the collision. Otherwise, if they hadn't, Lynn, I think, would have steamrolled past a pair of them on the entry to Coca-Cola Corner.
I'll give you another look at that, Tim, if I can hopefully pull it up here. Let's see. Sorry, trying to skim and find it.
That's all right. It's the trouble with these big grids. We have so many things to look through to try and find the right replay for you.
No, nope, that's not it. My apologies. Is it?
And it's Torelli. That's in turn
that's
one.
Earlier.
Where they were all scrapping
Shame
one
on
another.
me.
So this is McCain and Alson. So this is, oh, sorry, is this live pictures?
This is live.
And an incredibly slow aero nom there. I think he's just that one to perfection in terms of his strategy. Oh, as the fun and games.
The demo has begun.
It has indeed, and I didn't quite catch who it was who came absolutely flying through, trying to wipe out Alan McCain, who just jinxed to the left, and they carried on going. But here are your classify results as the demo derby happens in the background. The tradition in SRF weekend warriors, cars flying left, right, and centre. Nom takes victory. Naselli and Panera are going to round out your podium. 4th place, Antonio Race. A great result for the Masters driver. Obviously, your winner in Masters. Wow, spectacular. Marnie and Lynn, they're going to round out 5th and 6th place after their contact. Fritcher 7th, Mayer 8th. But Torelli has finished 17th in the end. I've skipped through a few there, but where's... wow. We'll have to dig into that one to see how exactly that managed to happen. Maybe it was a slowdown, but let's just run you through the rest of the list. So Fritcher 7th, Mayer, Jesus Rodriguez, Bobby West going to round out your top 10. Jason Green, 11th. Then it's your winner in Spec 2. Congratulations, Alan McCain. Steve Elson, 13th. Then it's 2nd in Spec 2 and 40th overall, Fabio Andalo with Zehao Liu. What a drive from him, up 27 places to 16th. Great stuff from him. Todd Hansen, he's 16th. We're going to run out your podium in Spec 2. Dorelli, now he's finished in 17th. Now, looking at, if he's had a slowdown, Jonathan,
he must have.
That, and he's not used it as before he's crossed the line, gone through it. I think he's picked up a time penalty there, and that's why all of a sudden he's down in 17th, and Antonio Race has been promoted to 4th. Marcus Burkitt, talking about Antonio Race, he's finished 18th overall and is 2nd in a Masters with Andrew Love not far behind him, ran at the podium in Masters. Sancinelli running out your top 20. Then we've got Favini. What a recovery from him. Let's not forget, he looked down and out. He was at the back of the field come turn 1 of lap 1. After that contact, to get back into 21st, the Swede. An amazing drive from him. Ken Batley, he's 22nd. Lesnoy, Bradshaw, Jackson, Kern, Gradwell, Gibson, Lenoy, and Stevie Ray are going to round out your top 30 here in Germany. Then we've got Gary Wolbolt, Vincent, Nunez, Vaccaro, Longlid, Dantas. Bit of a disappointing one for Dantas. We're down into pretty much the retirements now. So Dantas, unfortunately, retiring the car on lap 18. McDonald on lap 16. Conti, we lost on lap 15. Renders, we lost on lap 16. And then ran out the top 40. It's Montenbaut who retired the car on lap 12. Likewise did Danny Mulder. Disappointing for him on one of the newer drivers to the series. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Belgium driver again soon. Chris Benini, we lost on lap 7. Anderson lap 6. Bukabusa in lap 3. And Paolo Gori, our first retirement in lap 2. He finishes in 45th place just because Jim Brewster unfortunately did not make the start. So he's going to run out your 46 car grid here. But let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers. Who to pick first? Where do we go for? Let's kick it off with a little bit different. I know we always speak to our race winner, but let's take to another one of our winners. Alan McCain, winner in Spec 2. you were having a right old scrap there in the midfield. It looked like absolutely epic fun. Was it as fun for you in the car, or was it a bit nerve-wracking at times?
No, I would have to say now it was real good fun. I was enjoying that tonight.
It definitely looked. I mean, the first lap looked incredibly hairy with everyone all compacted together. I mean, we saw it on the camera shots during the commentary as the leaders were leaving the Mercedes arena. Pretty much the tail end of the field was only just leaving it. Just take us inside the car on that run down to turn one of what it was like with cars left, right, front, and center of you.
It was one of them ones. I just happened to time it right whenever the leaders went, and I just went and followed through a lot of cars and just held back and kept me pace, kept me steady, and just took it easy in the first lap or two, or first corner or two, and just took it from there.
I don't know if you caught in your mirrors or spotted on your relative. I'm sure you're probably so laser focused on the track in front of you that there was a big incident behind you, and you were one of the lucky ones to make it through, which is absolutely staggering stuff. Obviously, settled down into the race. You're having some absolutely epic battles. I mean, surely you've got to be happy. 13th overall and the winning class.
Yeah, as I say, I'm over the moon. It's one of my best results so far.
It is definitely, and looking forward to seeing Les next time out. Similar sort of vibe, not kill in terms of it being a short track like we've raced on the shorter version of the Grand Prix circuit here today. But that's even shorter again. How are you feeling about it? I'd imagine it's could be a bit nerve-wracking and a real struggle, especially during qualifying next week, to try and find some space.
I think it was as bad as it was last season. Last season we run it in first and I was having lots of problems, so I'll do my homework this week and do a lot of practice and take it from there.
Definitely, we'll look forward to seeing you next time out. Before you let you go, Alan, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Stevie Ray for organising, leading all the excellent drivers that is in it, and of course Aero Nom, teammate, just won the S1 class, so happy days. And yourselves for hosting it.
Hey, it's a pleasure with this league because it's always absolutely epic racing, and as you say, yourself and Aaron on both picking up victories here today. But that is Alan McCain, 13th overall, and your winner here in Spec 2. Now let's have a bit of a chat to another one of our drivers. I'll tell you what, let's just have a pick up with Alan McCain's teammate and your winner overall, and of course in Spec 1, Aero Nom. It all came down to the pit strategy. I can't even get my words out. There's been so much action. It all came down to the pit strategy here today, didn't it, Aero? And you pulled that out the bag and emerged a comfortable second clear of your competitors.
Oh yeah, it was. I didn't believe I had to take so little fuel, but yeah, it was the right one. So yeah, I came out. It was only 1 second, so I was sure I'm not going to keep the lead, but somehow I was able to manage the gap.
It was, I mean, other than that, was it literally just all about fuel saving for you? Because you seemed really happy and content to sit in second, third, fourth, that sort of pocket.
Well, yeah, it was easy, and some ways it was hard because Anthony's behind me pushing pretty hard, and in the braking points, when you lift, it's very hard. They can just hit you, and he almost tapped me once, so it was quite difficult.
Definitely, and well, not killed next time. It's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. You looking forward to it, or is it going to be another? You're just going to take it as it comes.
Yeah, last time I had unlucky. The worst ever time I got disconnected, so I hope to make it this time. But yeah, I was able to manage the track pretty well last time, so let's see this week, next week, I mean.
Definitely, and well, rounding out a double victory here for Team Bushfink Racing. That's Aero Nom, winner in Spec 1 and overall. Now, let's have a bit of a chat to another one of our drivers with what was an absolutely blistering race from himself. Epic qualifying, followed up by an epic race result. Antonio Rice, congratulations, winner in Masters, but not just that. According to our standings, you managed to pick up 4th overall as well come the end.
Hello, good night, everyone. Yeah, it was kind of, I think it's the best result for me on this season. And I didn't expect because that crash with the money and the lean, so I would be finishing behind them, but I got some lucky at the end. Sorry for them. I don't like they get get positions with the others. Unfortunate in it.
Definitely, and I believe Sergio Dorelli as well. We believe he's picked up a penalty, which is why he's finished so far down the order. But other than that, I mean, you had that slight mistake into turn 1. Were you a bit angry with yourself when that happened? Because up until then, you were up in that top group, fighting with them, and you were there on merit. You were matching their pace every step of the way.
Yeah, I was planning to go until the end with them, and then to see what's going to be happening after the pit stop. But then happened that spinning around the turn 1, and then all my dreams went out. I wake up.
Oh, definitely. But even so, you still had some cracking battles. And not kill next time out. I know, obviously, their last season, Aero Norm saying he's out for a bit of redemption. Alan McCain said he's going to have to put in lots of homework, as he put it, and lots of practice to secure a good result. I'd imagine similar sort of thoughts from yourself in terms of plenty of practice, I would imagine?
I don't have much practice. I did only 2 races this week, and I did some practice today before the race. And I did some practice other than the races as well, because I stream on the Twitch, and then I was tuning up my Twitch with this, because this is a best track because of the frames, and then I get some practice because of that. Yeah.
Oh, definitely, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time out, Antonio. In Scotland at Knock Hill. You take care of yourself, and hopefully you'll have an absolute
you too, guys. Nice to have me. Yeah, take care. See you.
A pleasure as always. Wow, Jonathan, I'd like to say it's been epic and spectacular. It has, but it's just another normal average.
Isn't it always epic and spectacular, Tim?
It's the average weekend in Weekend Warriors, isn't it? We don't to expect anything less, anything more. It's just crazy, big grid, action, drama, excitement from green flag right to the checkered.
Yeah, another great race here. We had a nice big field even though it's a long week in the US. Our US contingent wasn't really strong today. Great strategy, great battles, and Aeronom does what Aeronom does. He, plays the game right, has a great pit stop, and wins.
He did it. We saw it. Road America, unfortunately, the contact didn't help him. We saw it last time out as well at Phoenix. Timed it for perfection, but yes again, another Aeronaut masterclass. Wow, drama. What can we say? Again, right to the very end. Some intriguing race results. Congratulations to Nom, Rice, and McCain on their victories in their respective class, and of course Aeronom overall. And if you haven't had enough action and drama and excitement for your weekend's racing, just going live at the moment on the channel on the other side is the IGP Fun F3, as they are coming to you live from Suzuka. That'll be an intriguing one. Make sure you head across to the other side to watch that one. But what can we say? It's been an absolute pleasure once again. I've been Tim Cox with Jonathan Grousey, and we will see you week's time from Scotland at Knock Hill on the SRF Weekend Warriors returns presented by RaceVoice.